Trevor Howard's presence on screen was magnetic. From the tender, heart-wrenching moments of Brief Encounter to the shadowed streets of The Third Man, his face became one audiences instantly recognized, a symbol of British cinema's golden age. But behind that familiar gaze lay a man whose life Hollywood struggled to contain. Opportunities came and went, contracts signed, and then abruptly canceled, leaving the world to wonder why a star so luminous could be so difficult to hold on to. Whispers of his wartime service and honors that the Ministry of Defense refused to confirm only added to the enigma. While the public saw charm, gravitas, and talent, few suspected the quiet defiance, the personal codes, and the secrets that governed his choices. What was it that Hollywood couldn't control? Why did doors that seemed wide open close without explanation? And what truths did Trevor carry with him, never revealing even to those closest? The answers remained elusive, cloaked in the very shadows that shaped his life. Trevor Howard was born in Cliftonville, Margate, in 1913, and from an early age, his presence commanded attention. He trained in drama and honed his craft on stage, gradually building a reputation for precision, intensity, and a quiet authority that would define his screen persona. By the time he appeared in Brief Encounter in 1945, Howard had become a figure audiences revered, embodying both the everyman and the extraordinary. Critics praised his nuanced performances, and his name began appearing alongside the giants of British cinema. Hollywood took notice, with offers that promised international acclaim, but the golden path was never straightforward. Studios hesitated when old records resurfaced, documents questioned, and murmurs of a past military honor that remained unconfirmed circulated behind closed doors. Public acclaim continued to rise. Yet behind the headlines, attention lingered, a man of principle navigating a world that demanded compromise. Every award, every standing ovation, every front-page feature hinted at success. But the subtle cracks were growing, unseen by those who only admired his image. But behind the fame, something was slowly breaking. Trevor Howard's early life was a study in quiet determination. Born into a middle-class family, he showed an aptitude for learning and a natural presence that would later define his acting, though not without its challenges. His upbringing instilled a resilience that carried him through the early years of training and auditions. Howard's entry into acting was gradual, first through theater, where his intensity and commitment to character drew attention from directors and peers alike. Each role, no matter how small, became a stepping stone, shaping his method and honing the subtlety that would make him unforgettable on screen. His breakthrough came when British cinema sought new voices after the war, and his performance in Brief Encounter solidified his place as a leading man of extraordinary depth. Critics hailed him as a star capable of embodying both vulnerability and strength, a man whose screen presence lingered long after the credits rolled. Yet even as he ascended, the pressures of the industry and the shadow of unconfirmed military honors hinted at the complexities behind the poised exterior. Success was not just earned, it was forged in quiet struggle, discipline, and a steadfast commitment to a personal code that would define him far beyond the applause. As Trevor Howard's star continued to rise, the demands of fame began to exact their toll. Roles came with prestige but also with expectation, and Howard, steadfast in his principles, often resisted the pressures to conform to Hollywood's polished, marketable image. He sacrificed ease and comfort for authenticity, sometimes turning down lucrative contracts because they clashed with his values or threatened to compromise the integrity of his work. Behind the curtain, relationships were strained. The need for privacy and personal control often put him at odds with producers, co-stars, and even friends who struggled to understand his insistence on independence. While audiences saw charisma, charm, and an assured screen presence, Howard quietly endured the isolation, the frustration of missed opportunities, and the inner conflict of balancing ambition with integrity. Scandals never defined him, but the personal costs were real. Missed connections, postponed projects, and the slow erosion of trust in a system that prized compliance over principle. Even as acclaim grew, the battle to maintain his autonomy revealed a deeper truth. Fame had a price that could not be measured in awards or box office receipts, but in moments of solitude, compromise foregone, and a career path forever marked by the choices he refused to bend on. Despite the accolades and respect he earned, Trevor Howard's journey through Hollywood was not without setbacks. Opportunities that once seemed certain vanished unexpectedly, with contracts withdrawn and projects quietly shelved. Rumors circulated about his unconfirmed military honors, and studios, wary of controversy, hesitated to offer him the roles that might have catapulted him to international superstardom. The man who had captivated audiences with effortless depth now found doors closing for reasons he could neither control nor clarify. Colleagues recalled a quiet dignity in his response to these disappointments, a steadfastness that both inspired admiration and underscored the loneliness inherent in his path. As the lights dimmed on certain stages of his career, Howard grappled with frustration and a sense of dislocation, navigating a system that valued image over substance. He communicated little of this publicly, and the signals he sent through letters, interviews, or private conversations were often overlooked. His decline was not scandalous, nor marked by failure in craft. Rather, it was a gradual, silent retreat, shaped by principles, circumstance, and the unyielding pursuit of integrity. Audiences continued to see the performances, the poise, the gravitas, but the struggles behind the brilliance remained largely hidden. Trevor Howard passed away in 1988, leaving behind a legacy of unforgettable performances and a life marked by quiet complexity. His final years were spent away from the relentless glare of Hollywood, choosing selective projects that resonated with his artistic vision rather than commercial gain. Friends and colleagues described a man of warmth, wit, and unwavering integrity, yet always guarded, protective of the private truths he carried with him. The details of his personal affairs, the depths of his military service, and the reasons behind certain professional setbacks remained largely undisclosed, sealed by both circumstance and Howard's own discretion. Even as the world mourned a beloved actor, there lingered an air of mystery. The contracts he never signed, the roles left unrealized, and the secrets that quietly accompanied his celebrated career. In these final moments, Howard embodied the paradox that had defined him throughout life. Immense talent paired with steadfast independence, public recognition coupled with private enigma, and a departure that left more questions than answers for those who admired him. Trevor Howard's impact on cinema endures long after his passing. Generations of actors and filmmakers cite his performances as benchmarks of subtlety, intensity, and integrity. Audiences remember the profound humanity he brought to every role, the quiet strength, the measured emotion, and the magnetic presence that made him unforgettable on screen. Yet, alongside admiration lies curiosity and speculation. The military honors never confirmed, the contracts that vanished, and the personal choices that kept him at a distance from Hollywood's full embrace. His name continues to surface in retrospectives, film studies, and the whispers of those who knew him, a reminder of a star who navigated fame on his own terms. The mystery surrounding his life, the disciplined independence, and the secrets he kept have transformed him into more than an actor. He has become a symbol of the delicate balance between brilliance and autonomy. In the end, Howard's legacy is not merely the roles he played, but the integrity and enigma he preserved, leaving a story that continues to captivate, inspire, and haunt those who seek to understand the man behind the screen. Trevor Howard's life reminds us that fame and talent do not always travel hand in hand with control or understanding. The public celebrated his craft, yet few grasped the personal codes and quiet struggles that shaped his journey. His story is one of brilliance constrained by circumstance, of a man who refused to surrender his principles even when it meant turning away opportunities that could have elevated him further. Audiences may remember the iconic performances, the elegance, and the gravitas. But behind the applause lies a deeper narrative, a life marked by discretion, independence, and enduring mystery. What do you remember about the man behind the roles? If he were still here, what truths would he finally reveal? Fame and Shadows invites you to reflect on the fragile balance between public admiration and private integrity. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to continue exploring the untold stories behind the stars.